This right here is a Samsung phone charger. This one supports fast charging up to 9 volts or 15 watts, and this one doesn't really work. Doesn't work. And just to make sure my equipment works, here's an IKEA charger. And here we go. 4.91 volts. And we get nothing out of this Samsung. I did manage to get this cap off and take the motherboard out of it, but as soon as I saw the density of these components, I just said nope and put it back together. So today I decided to stop being a wuss and actually try to fix this thing. Because I'm kind of curious, these things don't really fail. Okay, so first things first, I'm already touching it, but it would be smart to discharge the primary capacitor. And once that's done, I see that there is a 2.8 ohm fusible resistor, so let's see if that is good. And we have 2.9 ohms, which means that it is good. Now that probably means that we are getting voltage to our smoothing capacitors, but there appears to be nothing happening after it. Or maybe the primary section is working, the secondary section is just not rectifying it and outputting it. So let's try to figure out which one of these two is our fault. Okay, so our charger is now powered. I'm only feeding it 0.25 amps. Just in case something does decide to short out, let's connect our USB tester. Good, we still have nothing. Let's see if we have voltage going in. We have 230 volts. Now let's see if we have anything on our primary capacitors. We have 322 volts on our primary capacitors, which means that our primary is definitely getting voltage. Now I'm not entirely sure how do I test if our primary switcher is switching, but I guess we can test we can see if there is any voltage on our auxiliary capacitor, which is typically used for powering the controller chip. And we have barely 1 volt. So that means that there is probably either a short somewhere or our chip is just not working. And first let's see if the capacitor has discharged. Yes, so there is definitely something draining the capacitors. The transformer feels warmer than the rest of the circuit. That's strange. So is there a short somewhere? Let's test the big silicon components. We know the bridge rectifier is working fine because we have DC voltage on the capacitors. I don't think our primary switcher will be exploded because I don't see any traces of a blown fuse or anything. Our output rectifier appears to be a MOSFET, which means that this thing is really high tech and it's using a synchronous rectifier MOSFET. It could be shorted, and shorting out the secondary side of the transformer could cause the transformer to warm up. So let's try to test this MOSFET. First, let's see if our primary switcher is shorted. I don't think it will be, but it doesn't cost anything to test, and it's not shorted. I don't see which pin is which on this board, and the pins on one side are hidden. There is another way we can test if our MOSFET is shorted. So we need to find a ground point, because this is a USB charger. A good ground point would be a pin on the USB port. This pin goes to the positive, so this is the positive. These two are data lines, and this one goes to our class Y capacitors. So this is a good ground point. You can also use the casing of the USB port, but because this is an active rectifier circuit or a synchronous rectifier circuit, this is most likely an N-channel MOSFET. Unlike a typical rectifier diode, this MOSFET is connected to ground, which also means that one of our transformer pins are going to be connected to the output positive. And it is. So if our transformer is connected directly to negative, that means that our MOSFET is shorted. And let's see. It is not. I see a typical MOSFET body diode voltage drop. Okay, so the fact that this MOSFET is not shorted doesn't mean that the secondary is working fine, because there is also an active circuitry controlling that MOSFET and an active circuitry used to negotiate the voltage with the device. But I still believe that we're going to have a primary side fault because our auxiliary capacitor being charged at 1 volt doesn't seem correct. So let's try to find the datasheet of the control IC, and maybe we can learn what exactly is this chip doing. So the chip is S77170 something. S77170. Okay, so annoyingly S7717C doesn't really correspond to any known IC, which means that this is a rebranded chip. So sadly I could not find the datasheet. I even tried to look for a match using a pinout, but I still couldn't find it. So unfortunately we are going without the datasheets. So the pinout of this chip appears to be pin 1. Goes to the current sensing resistor right here. Pin 2 appears to be driving the gate of our MOSFET. Pin 3 goes to this capacitor, which means that this is most likely the VCC of the chip. And pin 4, I didn't find what pin 4 was. Pin 5 is connected directly to the negative of our bulk capacitor, so that's probably ground. Pin 6 is connected directly to one side of our optocoupler, so that's probably feedback. And pins 7 and 8, I didn't find what they were. Earlier we measured that this capacitor right here is only charging up to 1 volt. And that's not good because this capacitor is what is powering our chip. That will probably mean one of two things. Either our chip is shorting that voltage down to ground, or our startup circuitry is not working correctly. Now it's quite easy to see if the chip itself is currently shorted, so let's first do that. So if I measure between the ground and the positive of this capacitor, we get over 20 kilo ohms, which means that our chip is probably not shorted. So let's try to find our startup resistors. So looking at this circuit, straight away I can see these two resistors, which are a relatively high value, and they are connected in series. And also, judging by the color of the rosin around them, which is yellower than everywhere else, these two resistors have been running hot, so they could be our startup resistors powering this chip before the chip starts powering itself. So 513 is 51 kilo ohms, so let's see if these two resistors are good. First one is good, we have 50.8 kilo ohms, and the second one is also 50.8 kilo ohms. Now let's just confirm if that is our startup resistor. One side of them should be connected to the positive of our bridge rectifier, which it is, and the other side should be connected to the positive of our capacitor. And it is not. Let's then try to find where this these resistors are going by probing random points until we hear a beep. Oh. They go straight into our chip. Maybe these are actually our startup resistors and they just go through the chip for some reason. They go from the pin 8 somewhere, doing something inside the chip and then going to the pin 3, and pin 3 is connected directly to this capacitor. So since I am clearly way too dumb to find the startup resistor on this thing, next thing I'm going to try is to desolder this chip and see if the voltage on this capacitor rises above 1 volt. If it does so, that means that this chip is probably shorting this voltage down to ground. Okay, so our chip is desoldered, it is right here, and our power supply is ready for a quick test. So let's plug it in. So let's see if we have voltage. We have 225 volts. Okay. Let's now see if we have more voltage on this electrolytic capacitor. We do not. That's interesting. Okay then, so do we have a voltage between the negative of the electrolytic capacitor and pin 8? We have 6 volts. I mean, that's still more than we previously had. But what is limiting that voltage? Because if it was just a resistor going to the positive of a bridge rectifier, we would see at least 300 volts DC there. Maybe there is a Zener diode somewhere here that I'm not seeing. Let's try to see if there is anything else on the other pins. Pin 1, nothing. Pin 2, nothing. Pin 3, nothing. 4, nothing. 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, only pin 8 is seeing anything. So maybe pin 8 is our startup pin. Okay, so our chip is resoldered. It's a bit messy, but I was too lazy to get my hot air gun, so I did it with my soldering iron. And I don't care how it looks as long as it works, or well, doesn't work. So I'm going to plug in our tester just in case our power supply decides to come back to life for no apparent reason. And let's plug it in and see what happens. Okay, it is plugged in, nothing exploded. Let's see if we are getting voltage. 226, we have voltage. Okay, so let's see if we have voltage on our capacitor. We have nothing. Interesting. What about our resistors? We have 5.6 volts on our resistors. Why don't we have anything on our capacitor? That's weird. Okay, do we have anything on pin 8? Yes, same voltage as on our resistors. Earlier we were getting 1 volt on this capacitor and now we are getting nothing. Okay, so to clear things up a bit, our startup circuitry goes from the positive of our bridge rectifier to these two resistors and then to the pin 8 of our chip. And then that chip internally connects pin 8 and pin 3. Pin 8 being the startup resistor pin and pin 3 being our chip VCC pin, which goes to this capacitor. Now the next logical step would be to replace this chip because it's not forwarding the startup pin voltage to the VCC, but since I don't know what this chip is, so what if we were to manually connect pins 8 and 3? What will happen then? Because the chip doesn't appear shorted. Let's do it. I wanna see what happens. I like doing stupid things. Okay, so now we have this wire right here connecting pins 8 and 3. What that does is basically connects our startup resistors directly to the VCC of the chip. Now, is this a stupid thing to do? Yes, probably, but then again, that's how most of these chips usually work, so this is nothing out of the ordinary. So let's just make sure that it's not shorting anywhere, and let's try to plug it in and see what happens. Okay, going in 3, 2, 1. Well, nothing exploded, but also the power supply didn't turn on. Let's see what is the voltage on our capacitor. Now the voltage on the capacitor will probably be either 0 if the chip is shorted, or it will be just around 6 volts because that's what the resistors were reading before. And we have 5 volts. Okay, so our chip is definitely getting power and it's doing absolutely nothing with it. So I think our chip is completely dead. Shame. I can't get a replacement chip because I don't know what that chip is, and yeah, we kind of hit a brick wall. So it looks like I was smarter the first time when I said I don't want to deal with this. Shame. I really thought I could do it. I hope you found this video interesting, and thank you very much for watching. I also have one more faulty Samsung charger. Maybe you can try to fix this one in the future. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope you found this video interesting, and hopefully see you in the next one. Bye for now.